Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, people. This is Ryan Smith, and welcome to our latest edition of our live podcast, where I'm going to bring you Knicks news. And man, we're going to dive into it today. The Knicks have made some strategic maneuvers that have made the basketball world buzz. So buckle up because I'm going to take you through the moves that could shape up the future of this franchise. And just where I left off when they lost in Game 7, I'm going to pick up now. First, let's start with the breaking news, the pre-draft power play. Last night, the Knicks made a statement louder than a buzzer beater at MSG. They traded for Mikal Bridges, the guy that everyone knew was definitely going to be traded, but never to the Knicks. And that set the tone for the offseason strategy. So much so that less than 24 hours later, right before draft time, I get this. The Knicks are ready to make their big move. OG Anunoby just got paid. OG Anunoby intends to sign a 5-year, $212.5 million contract to return to the Knicks, as per Wojo on ESPN. And if that wasn't enough, literally seconds later, I get a notification that Thibodeau, Coach Tom Thibodeau, is gearing up for a contract extension in the near future as well. And this was according to Mark Stein. So, the Knicks are building a contender. The statement is clear. And it's a master path that has been going on for a long time. They're not just playing checkers, people. They're playing multi-directional chess. They have been adding strategic layers to their roster, focusing on this defensive powerhouse team that didn't even exist at the beginning of last year. And it's to contend with the likes of the Celtics, Nuggets, T-Wolves, Mavericks, but mainly the Celtics, the champs. And adding Mikal Bridges and signing OG Anunoby in the same day sent one loud and clear message. We are all in. All right? So let's get down to the pros and cons, starting with the Bridges trade. All right? Um, Dissecting them dealing for Bridges and re-signing OG. What does it mean for the team's chemistry and the roles of the players like Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo? Could this be the formula for a championship run as it is now? You know, well, let's familiarize ourselves with the domino effect, the contract and trade values. With the draft looming, the Knicks had decisions to make. Are they going to keep Robinson and Randall, or one, or both, to make a title push and risk losing them for nothing next year? I mean, is that something they're going to do? Or are they going to explore their potential learnings and listen to suitors and try to get both of them traded for another score to add to it? I think that the draft day decisions, since the Knicks have to keep their picks under the rules, will actually be pivotal. With picks 24, 25, and 38 tonight, the Knicks have an opportunity to select players who can contribute immediately. All right? Not stars, role players who can be candidates to take the place of an Isaiah Hartenstein. Experts think that the Knicks are going to select players I've heard most: Terrence Shannon Jr., the guard forward from Illinois; Ryan Dunn, forward from Virginia. I love Dunn because he fits in with that defensive first mindset. Um, but, we're going to see. They're also going to have their eyes on centers if they fall. And right now, in Vegas, by the way, after the signing of OG, the Knicks have jumped to be the second highest odds to win the Eastern Conference. Right? They know that ever since the Knicks got rid of Porzingis, they have been stacking up draft picks to do this. So they send 5 number ones for Mikal Bridges, and I get it, right? Mikal Bridges, let me make this clear. Usually, when you send 5 number 1 picks that are unprotected to a team, it is for an A1 star. Mikal Bridges, if anything, with his time on the Brooklyn Nets, is showing you that he ain't that. That's not a knock on him. He can do so many things. He can put up 30 points on any given night, just like OG Anunoby could. But when Jalen Brunson's going to carry the load, and if things stay as they are now, Julius Randle will be your second option. Mikal Bridges gets to be your third or your fourth option, depending on the games that DiVincenzo and OG and even Hart have. And if they sign Hartenstein, it's probably game over in my opinion. I mean, if I'm the Knicks and I sign Hartenstein, which they can do, even though from my sources, I've heard that OKC and the Detroit Pistons are both prepared to offer him a contract somewhere around 40 to 50 million for 2 years. And the Knicks do have a little bit of right to him that other teams don't. They can offer him 4 years, 72.5 million. So they can offer him the most years and the most money, which is never to be underestimated. All right. Excuse me. Let me turn this volume off so you don't get interrupted. So they can offer the most years and the most money. However, it's going to be up to Hartenstein whether he thinks that that play you saw last year can be repeated. I'm curious myself. I thought he showed an extremely high basketball IQ last year. And when Mitchell Robinson went down, I thought that that was a huge part that they wouldn't be able to patch up. Turns out I was wrong. He looked maybe even better, definitely better than Mitchell Robinson. Maybe not on the offensive glass, but other than that, he, made great passes. He could score when he needed them to. He could play big minutes. He stays healthy. He might be thinking to himself, hey, I'm 25. I'm going to sign a 2-year, $40 or $50 million contract, especially if it's 50, because, that is 25 versus the 18 that the Knicks can offer me. $7 million a year. It's $14 million. And then all I got to do is make up $22.5 million at my age 27, 28 contract over the next 2 years to equal what the Knicks can give me. And that's with the veteran minimum and the new TV deals coming out. That might be something he can't even avoid doing. However, if he slips and falls back to what his value was when the year started, he might not get anywhere near that. And taking the 4-year deal would be smart. It depends how much his agents are in his ear. And luckily, he doesn't have the type of aggressive agent that is going to, say, take the big money. Now, hopefully he'll put some value on winning, because if he's in the center and you have Julius Randle at power forward, right, and you can put OG Anunoby on the opposite wing, you can play Mikal Bridges at the 2, and you can play Brunson at point. That means that you can have Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench. That means that Mitchell Robinson can back up Hartenstein. And when you want, you can go big, and when you want, you can go small. You could put Randall in the center, put OG and Bridges on the wings, and you can play Brunson next to Dante DiVincenzo or Josh Hart. And, you could even do this without a center at all for parts of the game. But let's make it clear, they need a center. If Mr. Robinson, if they're not inclined to let him walk for nothing, they need to pick up somebody. If not Hartenstein, I believe that is going to be there in case he's traded or in case he gets hurt. You can't play small all year, even though with that team, if anyone can do it, they can. I'd like to see a 6'10" to 7'2" big man that stays in the paint on the defense especially, and that can shut down any 7-foot threats that you're facing. But anyway, from Randall to Brunson to OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, the Knicks have meticulously crafted a team that has these options I speak of. They're not just ready to compete; they are poised to conquer. The blueprint is clear, pieces are in place, and the garden is ready to roar. Will this be the season the Knicks finally turn dreams into reality? I mean, stay tuned, Knicks Nation, because their front office deserves all the respect in the world. They're getting it done. They are going to have a draft tonight that, in my opinion, will determine how hard they go at Hartenstein. And, until then, we're not going to know exactly what's going to happen as far as trading Randall, as far as trading Robinson. But what we do know is that after tonight, things are going to be a little more clear. If a couple of the centers that are in the draft, which it's unlikely, but if they fall to them, or if the Knicks decide to package their 2 first-rounders to move up, which they can do, and with the way that Rose is wheeling and dealing, they may do, then guess what? Your decision on what to do about Hartenstein changes. Your decision on what to do with Robinson changes. Maybe Robinson gets the big deal, and maybe Randall's the odd man out. Who knows? In general, the Knicks don't let people walk away for nothing, but with Randall and Robinson in the final year of their contract, especially with Randall at age 29, and the money he's going to command, I mean, I don't really know what they can get for him. that would be worth trading someone that's given you 23 and 10 for the last 5 years. Um, I would say if possible, keep him on that team, keep him contributing, and if he can fit in the flow of that Nova 4 plus OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson, and you got there's McBride coming off the bench. You could have Ochoa if they work it, which they probably are going to. I mean, you have a deep team, and the rookies are all going to be starters on the team, and who knows, sky's the limit. But I just want to reiterate my opinion that they did not overpay. I started to say, usually when you give up 5 draft picks, right, you're going to get your number 1 star. Especially when they're first rounders, and there's other things. I think a second rounder and a conditional swap in there that's unprotected also. But Mikal Bridges, he's not just a piece of the puzzle. He's not even just a good piece or a great piece of the puzzle. He is the perfect piece to this puzzle, and not just. Please, let's not oversimplify it. Not just because he went to Nova, and 3 of their biggest and most important players in DiVincenzo, Hart, and Brunson are also Nova grads that won championships. Some of them won it twice, in that foursome. Some of them won once, but not just because of that. It's because he's a defensive-minded, team-first guy that can score and play big minutes, and he stays healthy. They love playing for Thibodeau, right? That shows you, the contract extension for Thibodeau coming after signing OG and, trading for Bridges, doing the impossible. Rose is sending a message. He's putting the league on notice, right? The reason that this makes sense is because, first of all, they're going into the draft today with 2 first-round picks. They're late, but they have 2 first-round picks and a mid-second-round pick this year, all right? So if you look at the picks they traded, almost all of them were picks that they have acquired, and they're not giving up like they used to always do. All their first round picks for some old veteran point guard that may or may not be the answer. They got the perfect piece. I don't know. Actually, no, I do know. I can think of a couple times in NBA history where I remember the perfect piece being added. The Chicago Bulls in the late 90s adding Dennis Rodman. That's a perfect piece being added. When the Orlando Magic drafted Penny Hardaway and traded for Horace Grant, that was a perfect piece. They knocked off the Bulls in the playoffs and almost won it all. When the Knicks got Latrell Sprewell as their 6th man, which, by the way, just to remind everyone, it's not that crazy to be a 6th man if your top 5 is built a certain way. If your 6th man can average 17 to 20 off the bench and put in 30 minutes because he's playing a little bit of the 1, the 2, and the 3, then that's a great position. The only thing he's missing out on is the jump ball. So anyway, I'm excited. This is good, and the reason that it's worth it is because I can't. And let me think. Tim Duncan being drafted. That's a perfect piece, but it wasn't added through trades, and it was no one expected it to be that perfect. The Knicks should have won the championship that year, but the Spurs were too good. Other perfect pieces. Shaq to the Lakers. Yeah, that did start a mini dynasty there, but I'm sorry, I meant to say Kobe to the Shaq Lakers. But you're here, and then Shaq ended up going to the Heat. So that's 3 teams in my perfect piece scenario that have Shaq involved. One of the most dominant, physically imposing players ever. So maybe it's not so much a perfect piece as it is that any team that's good and had Shaquille O'Neal in his prime is going to become a contender. It's that simple. It's like saying LeBron is the perfect piece. But, speaking of LeBron, when he went to the Heat with Bosh, obviously LeBron, but Bosh was the perfect 3rd piece with with Ray Allen as the scorer. That was a team that around with the big 3 and Allen as a scoring piece that was very formidable. When LeBron goes back to the Cavs, he did it because Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were there, and that was the perfect piece situation. The chemistry, chemistry that can be built is just, you just can't say enough about it. And I've been waiting And, I couldn't be happier with anyone. I'm reading things like they're going to get Paul George. I'm reading that they're going to make a move where they trade 4 picks, Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, to get Kevin Durant. I mean, all right, that'll put you, especially because he's a big man, that's going to put you in contention next year too. But, and dare I say, getting Mikal Bridges and not losing Randle or Robinson, that's better than getting Kevin Durant, because Durant, with his age, even though he shows no signs of slowing down, I mean, yeah, it puts him in the contention for next year. But right now they have options, you know, with the players that I've mentioned, and if they sign Hartenstein, if they draft right tonight, they could have a team that has 12 players deep, and they're going to have to decide which 2 are the guys that don't fit and need to be moved. But we know it's not going to be Hart. It's not going to be Brunson. It's not going to be Ananoby. It's not going to be Bridges. All right, it's not going to be DiVincenzo. All right, it could only be Mitchell Robinson. It can only be Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, maybe Deuce McBride, Miles McBride, maybe, if the right guy comes back. If you can package McBride, Randle, and Deuce together and get back a guy that is without a doubt a 20 and 10 type big man, or a center that is a young all-star, then sure. I mean, I don't think they can get that though. So, I mean, the Knicks have put themselves in a position that no matter who you throw out as their opponent, they have the pieces to shut them down. Can you imagine Josh Hart, who's a defensive monster, and DiVincenzo is in the backcourt, right? Helping out when Brunson's on the bench. And let's say, I'm sorry, they can't both be in the backcourt because they don't bring the ball up, but let's say McBride is with those 2. And then you have, on the small lineup, you're putting in OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. There's not even really a better 5 people in the NBA that I can think of to shut down the contenders currently. The only problem that you have is with people like Luka Doncic and with the Joker in Denver. But here's the thing: it's like, not to compare them to Shaq. Personally, I think they're soft and nothing when you compare them to Shaq. But the league's different now. But no one stops these dudes. It's like it's just like with the Knicks Sixers series. You hear these idiot Sixers fans talking about, the Sixers, if healthy, they would have won. The only reason that they didn't is because the big man is hurt. Yeah, well, you're Sixers, your big man, who was also one of the people in trade rumors, guess what? He scored 34 points a game hurt. What do you think he was going to do, if he was healthy? I mean, at that time, the Knicks had Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein playing. I mean, they had Josh Hart playing. I mean, someone's going to get the buckets, and he can shoot from the outside. He can go in the inside. The only thing he wasn't doing was playing defense. And guess what? The Knicks aren't the type of team that's working the ball into the paint where his defense is going to matter. So, I mean, it's not that I'm saying they can't shut down centers. I'm just saying that when you have a dominant center and there's not like Embiid or Joker or someone like Luka Doncic that can play that big man role, no one's really shutting them down. So I think that what they have now is, dare I say, as good as it can get. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but ideally they lock up Hartenstein too, and they can package Robinson and Randle. And if they need to put another player, hopefully in the draft tonight they can replace him with somebody that can fill in. If they have to do that, I want them to bring a big power forward or center, a number 4, a forward, because they got wings, a power forward that can score and play D. If they can do that, and it's somebody that they have a chance of extending, if it's somebody young, still on the rookie deal, and there's 2 years left, and they get full Larry Bird rights, then, that's my ideal situation. But, I don't know if that's going to happen, and if it's not, it's still not out of the realm of possibility because of the rules and because we don't know exactly how much this TV deal is going to up what they can offer players, it's not out of the realm of possibility if they don't get Hartenstein locked up that they can't sign Randall Brunson also. And then when it comes time, extend everybody in the Nova unit. But with Bridges and OG locked up, you're going to lock up Brunson. I mean, just the fact that I have named 5 or 6 different ways that you can put together a great starting 5 with 2 on the bench that could start. So your top 7 are, NBA stars. I mean, and you got your, main guy putting in 40, your second option putting in 23, and your third option can be one of 4 people that are going to average 14 to 16, put up 35 on their big nights and 8 or 9 on their small nights with 4 steals and 8 rebounds. I mean, that is beautiful Leon Rose, genius strategic front office movement, which as a Knicks fan is very new to me. Even as a Yankees fan. I mean, Cashman is not the one to credit for the Yankees dynasty. I mean, that was put together, by the man that retired when he took over, Gene Monahan. Is it Gene Monahan? No, that's the trainer. His nickname was Stick. Sticks, I forget. But he's the guy who said, don't trade Jeter, don't trade Rivera. These guys were going to be stars. And, they didn't. It was the Yankees dynasty was put together during George Steinbrenner's suspension in the early 90s. And that's when they stopped trading prospects and built on it. But since then, all they've done is sign big-name free agents that have taken them nowhere. They won once in 2009 with that game plan. Since then, all they've done is be a constant contender. The Knicks, they haven't been a contender at all. And now they were an injury or 2 prevention away from facing off against Boston. And if their whole team is healthy, then let's not forget, last year it would have been Randall opposite OG Anunoby. And it would have been Dante DiVincenzo or Hart at the 2 with Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson playing center. Dante and Hart switching off between the 2 and 3 with OG and Randall. As you would move to 4, they'd basically have 4 guys playing 3 positions. So they're basically all starters. And Jalen Brunson. I mean, with the guys that, if you had Mitchell Robinson, let's say Mitchell Robinson, Dante DiVincenzo, coming off the bench to assist, Ochoa and Miles McBride. I mean, you had Bogdanovich at one point. I mean, how deep can you be? How deep can you be? Even Alex Burke, he showed that he can play. Maybe they sign him. I mean, it's going to depend on who they get in the draft tonight, how confident they are that they can step up and play this year, and I guess what Randall expects. I mean, if I'm the Knicks, I can't see signing OG and Randall. I mean, to be honest, OG's never played more than 61 games. He always gets hurt. He's always missing 20 games. The Knicks had him for half a season. He was hurt twice in the regular season, twice in the playoffs. So paying him 40-something million a year, I mean, he did it because you love how you play when he is healthy. And they found the perfect way to hedge the risk. That is with Mikal Bridges, who's almost a clone of him, a defensive wonder who fits in with the Nova 3 that are there. They have a Nova 4, and, if one's hurt, the other one plays. And in the NBA, you can plan. When your team has this many players that can play, you may as well plan on 2 people being hurt. And then you don't worry who fits in where. Then you need Randall to step up and score. And then you need Bridges to get you 18 to 20. And Vincenzo was back in the starting lineup because Bridges has to slide down and, play opposite Randall when OG's hurt. I mean, there's going to be times, and, maybe that's exactly what Rose is planning for, and the rookies to be on the bench learning. But we will see, and what I can promise you is that since the moves are not done, and they're already, plus 800 in Vegas, which in the Eastern Conf, I think that is 4th. You have above them, you have the Nuggets, Celtics 1, Nuggets 2, Dallas 3, Minnesota 4, Knicks 5. That's how it looks right now. And the Knicks are, the Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Mavericks are pretty high up there as one too. I think it's plus 300, plus 450, and plus 550. And then you got the T Wolves at around plus 750, the Knicks at 850, and then you go into the teams like the Bucks at plus 1,000, plus 950, that are also close to the Knicks. But then there's a big gap. There's a bunch of teams that are plus 15 and plus 30,000. I mean, so I'm sorry, not 30, plus 3,000, and plus 1,500. But the fact that they are in that elite group is, you got to be excited as a Knicks fan. And I made a video last night reacting to the Bridges trade, and my audio went out. I'm having some technical difficulties in the new studio in DC here, believe it or not. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to start tomorrow with a new live show every day. You can check out my channel. I'm going to have a New York Giants, a New York Yankees, a New York Rangers, and a New York Knicks section. And then I'm going to have a docu-series and a highlight section for sports, all within the channel. There's going to be a sports channel that shows you great sports historical events, and I'm going to talk about them live also. Let you watch them in the background. I'm going to be the maker, so there'll be no copyright issues, and I'm going to comment on them. I'm going to then give you daily highlights and quick YouTube shorts. I'm going to give you interesting things to watch, and I'm going to give you coverage on the New York teams like the Yankees, Knicks, Rangers, and Giants that is going to be unparalleled. And I want to challenge any New York podcaster out there. I want to challenge you. Let's set up the format. Let's get 5 topics thrown at us, and let's both go live at the same time and answer them, and then merge the videos together. And let's see who the best off-the-cuff podcaster is. Let's see who has the best knowledge, is best on the mic, and can be most entertaining, because I am just getting back in this. I was monetized 10 years ago, people. I'm only 6 weeks back into this. This live, this is me. This is where I'm comfortable, and I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel, and look out for all of my live shows. I'm going to start to do my best to get more organized, scheduling them and structuring it so you can navigate the channel to get what you want. And monetization is not far away. Share this with your friends. I think I have 6,000 hours in the last 5 weeks, but 2/3 of those are YouTube shorts. I need to get 2,000 hours of non-YouTube short videos in the month of July. That's what I would like to do, so I can go into August with the monetization that will allow me to give you 3 subscription options. And I'm going to be reasonable with the prices. I'm more about just creating a community and having that community consist only of real sports fans. And I want you guys to help weigh in on the podcast. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you for joining in. I have been Ryan Smith, and this has been the New York Knicks White Hot News on the Balls of Fire Sports Station. Over and out. Thank you for tuning in.